Stop the beat on your taco. You know what time it is when we pull up that taco. I hold that 30 cut and I'm busting that hollow. That's how I go. They don't want no smoke, they don't want none. They don't want no smoke, they don't want none. They don't want no smoke, they don't want none. They don't want none.
What's up, guys? It's Johnny Candito of Candito Training HQ. As you can tell, the Candito Deadlift program is finally finished. It is 100% free, and there is no email that you have to sign up to get a bunch of spam. Nothing like that. There's just a there's a link to the website in the description, and then you just download it straight off there. And I made it in Google Docs, more specifically Google Sheets. So if you do have any troubles with your computer, from any computer, you should be able to access Google Drive and then be able to access it just fine. So just in case anyone's running into some issues, that's always the way to go. Now, there are two ways to support if you do want to, and to help me keep making these programs. That is, first of all, you can do, of course, an optional donation via PayPal. And a lot of people, what they do is they run one of my programs and they set beforehand a proportion of their strength gains that they'll give. So basically, the better the results of the program, then the more they give. So you can do something like that, or if you find the information is immediately useful and there's something you're going to extrapolate from it right away, then of course you can just give a certain donation right up front. But you know, whatever works for you. If you just don't have money at the time, or if you just want to see it and then maybe you don't end up using it, then there's nothing wrong with just looking at it. And of course, with forums and everything, I feel like piracy is kind of inevitable if someone is selling a program. So I want to make sure by making it free, they don't discourage that. They basically play to that you can spread this anywhere. And yeah, I would prefer that you link somehow my channel and that somehow it all connects. But in the end of the day, the information and helping people is the most important thing. A second way you can support is you can tell I'm offering a deadlift shirt here. And this is my image and then just do even deadlift. And it's in black and white to keep it very simple. And there's a conventional version and then a sumo version. And on the sumo version, there's actually a yellow dotted line that extends from just underneath the ankles to over the knees. And it's to show alignment of the knees and ankles. So having that proper external rotation, hip abduction, and alignment with the knees and feet. So of course, for sumo poolers, that's a big thought. For conventional poolers, you guys don't get anything special. It's only right that us sumo poolers are just a little bit more special. You know, us technicians, we gotta signify the technical difficulty. My brother and I were actually surprised that no one's already selling Do You Even Deadlift shirts. So it's a perfect time to fill that lane and of course to show your exercise selection elitism in the gym. Now I also want to mention about my own lifting. That was actually a 665 pound deadlift, not exactly a 300 kilogram pull, but I didn't really want to bother putting 301 and change in that video edit there. But that's a really good sign because it actually is a lifetime PR in terms of absolute loading on a calibrated setup. And also moving forward, this really sets me up well to pull 680, which is my next goal, and then of course 700. But I want to make sure that these are all done on a calibrated plate setup, as that is quite a bit more difficult. And I've been finding that lately, that even with a stiff bar, having a stiff bar and pound plates is significantly easier, especially with a bumper. But I'll go over that more in future videos. Also, I am not using hook grip anymore, as you can tell, as that really just ended up zapping my ability to grind off of the floor. So I found that with hook grip, I basically forced myself into that perfect position and then I couldn't shift away from it. Whereas when I pull alternate, I set up in that upright position, but I also have a second gear where my hips kick up and I do keep a neutral back, but it's something that basically I expect that second gear to kick in and then I'm able to pull another significant chunk higher. But for some reason, if I set up in that higher hip position, it just doesn't work quite as well. So that 665 was actually the first time pulling alternate again, which again, that's a really good sign because it did feel a little bit awkward, yet I was still able to pull it off. And I was actually surprised that my grip held up. So overall, I'm going to use this program specifically to go after those goals and also to go after the goal of a 610 rep max later this year. As you guys saw earlier, that I did 550 for 10 and I did 570 for 10 while running this program. So that's 600 for 10 and then also some other goals like snatch grip. I want to do 480 for 5. I did 455 for 5 earlier And then I want to do 500 for 5 this year. So that's really the primary goal. The 480 is just in between, just to make sure I make responsible jumps. But that 500 for 5, if I hit that snatch grip, now it is wide stance snatch grip, but if I hit that snatch grip, that will actually be within 25 to 35 pounds of my best lifetime conventional 5 rep max. And that was when my conventional max was around 623. So that'd be really cool if my snatch grip starts kind of catching up to that. It would honestly be a pretty weird thing for me to think about, because with sumo, of course, everything is focused on technique, but I feel like snatch grip is such a good measure of general strength, because you can't cheat it with a conventional deadlift where you round over a lot, yet you have to keep a flat back, yet at the same time, of course, you have to use more range of motion than on a sumo deadlift. So I think that's just a really good measure that on this program, I'm developing that raw strength as each cycle progresses. And then, of course, with the program, it is in 4 phases if you do the optional phase, but 3 phases are mandatory. And for that optional volume phase, I actually don't recommend you do that if it's not necessary. If you see that translation or transference from that distant variation to the competition lift, and it seems like it's fine, then just skip over that optional phase, as I only want you to do that if you need to, if you don't see that transference quite add up. And the last thing I want to address is who should use this program. And I feel like it's going to be perceived probably as a more advanced, higher volume program, when there is a reason why I didn't put advanced deadlift program, because yes, it is, of course, for more advanced lifters in terms of variation, if you need that level of variation. But at the same time, it's not such a high volume program that if you use it earlier on in your lifting, that's actually a detriment. So for example, if you use my advanced bench program as a beginner, you might actually get into a bad situation where you're used to benching 5 days a week when you probably just shouldn't. Whereas this, it really isn't the case. It's still twice a week. For the most part, the volume is actually very moderate. It's low to moderate, and that is just how I train the deadlift. The deadlift isn't a lift that has caused me much problems in terms of injuries because of that, because moderate volume actually is a better setup for me. I actually perform better, unlike things like the squat and bench. So the program hasn't just worked well for myself. For Pedro, who deadlifts 551 is his best that he hit at a meet, running this type of setup. And then all the way up to Vernon Williams hit a 688-pound deadlift in his first meet ever, and he won best lifter of the meet. So his second meet, what we're going to go for, is the second best 83 kg raw deadlift in USAPL history, because I believe anything over 706 and a half. There's John Hack 705, then I think someone chipped him, and then Deadlift Panda's way up there with around 750. But if you deadlift 711 or more, if Vernon hits that, then I believe that will be the second best for the 183-pound weight class. And Vernon already hit a 7-plate pause deadlift, so on the close variation cycle already after his meet. So things are going very well, and it's funny that it's actually going so well on this setup, on this exact program, that we haven't changed anything rerunning it, which is kind of weird because I am coaching him personally. So it's something where, of course, you don't want to run a cookie cutter program for someone paying for individualized coaching, but at least on this lift specifically, it just works so well that both of us agreed to just run it straight through, at least until we have to adjust. Of course, that problem is a very good sign for the program itself. So that's it, guys. I really love making these programs because personally, I find that this has the largest impact. This is the largest impact of really anything I can do. The 6-week program has probably reached, I would guess, tens of thousands of people. It's probably the biggest impact of anything I'm going to do as a person in my life. Being able to come up with something in my brain and then so many people actually go to the gym and do it, is an awesome feeling. And with YouTube, I think it's very hard to get through, to actionable information now, given how saturated it is. So it is very easy for everything to kind of become generic tips that we all already know. So that's why I like taking my time and then just putting out a specific plan and all of these ideas in a structure that then you can implement, or at least just look at and then maybe get some ideas from. So that's it, guys. Make sure to like the video, support the channel. Of course, the links in the description to the shirt and the program itself are in the description. Did I say description twice? But anyways, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for watching, guys. Peace.
You can't stop me!
Okay, so to provide you guys some extra clarity, I want to run you through myself trying to access this properly. So I hit download and I got it here, and I do have Excel on this computer. I think there's some random issue. Yeah, they're here. But anyways, I have Excel on here, and you can see that the formatting is not too great here. But on most of them, it's okay. You know, on this one, I remember it's a little bit easier to, yeah, you can see here, you can access, you could definitely get the information. But obviously, it's extremely clumsy and not ideal. So if you go to Google Drive, so let's assume you have a Google Drive. If not, just make one. I strongly recommend it. Then go to here, and if you've never imported a file, because I know I rarely upload files, I usually just make them, but let's go here. There's my grandpa. So let's go Candito Deadlift Program, hit open. Let's just update existing because I already did this. But anyways, so then you click on that, and then boom, now you have it, and you hit open with Google Sheets. Come on. And we're in. Okay, so that's it. All right, hopefully this helps.